Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today is July 31st, 2024, and I need to correct the record on something that I said yesterday. Trump did not ever officially convert to Judaism. I think I was thinking of his daughter, who did officially convert to Judaism, and I just wanted to clarify that because I said that yesterday and I was in error. So sometimes I misspeak. There's a lot of information that we're putting out. Sometimes my mind gets turned back around, but you can always understand that I'm going to correct myself if there's been an error. I'm not here to spread any disinformation. So hopefully that sets the record straight. Now, of course, we know there are many other indications that show Trump's support for Israel. A lot of people are calling him the first Jewish president, even though he, like I said, he never officially converted. But I don't want to speculate too much on that. I'll let the record speak for itself when it comes to how he handles Israel in his ties and associations. Now let's get into today's show. Welcome to the bizarre Garrison Matrix. Now, what am I talking about? It sounds like a random name, but actually the name Garrison is not so random. What is the Garrison Matrix? Well, the Garrison Matrix is Jim Garrison, a JFK attorney who exposed the whole JFK assassination and all of the stuff that was going on with that. Garrison is also a Trump character named Mr. Garrison, and he plays a teacher in South Park. And finally, the third part of the Garrison Matrix is a water tower in the movie Copland. It's actually a place, Garrison, New Jersey, a fictional town in the movie Copland, in which a clown lives. A clown who got his ear bit off in the movie Copland, which released 33 days after the anniversary of Trump's ear getting shot off 27 years later. How old was the clown in that movie, Copland, when it came out in 1997? He was 27 years old. So we have a 27-year matrix. Let me say all that again, because this is crazy. In the movie Copland, a clown lives in a water tower. He got his ear bit off when he was 18 years old. That's Michael Rappaport. Copland released 33 days after the anniversary of Trump's ear getting shot off 27 years later. And the clown, Michael Rappaport, was 27 years old in the movie Copland. That's what we call a circular matrix. When you see things going out and coming back completed in the same timelines, that's called a circular matrix of numbers. Now, it appears to me all of this has happened before, and all of it points and pointed forward to the assassination attempt, the quote-unquote assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Now, at the end of the show today, we're going to do also a Honey Milk Ranch update for those of you that are interested. Let's see what's going on out here at the Ozark Ranch. But our story today begins with a particular district attorney. Now, some of you were really into the whole JFK assassination and all of that. I didn't get too far deep into that, but now I'm starting to realize as time goes on that this JFK assassination story is becoming more and more and more important. You have to almost wonder if this deadly head wound and the 3 days of recovering isn't going to be somehow definitively linked to the JFK assassination on a spiritual level. If you have to wonder if they're going to revive all that and bring that all back around full circle when the Antichrist is revealed. Now, you notice I didn't say that I believe that Trump is the Antichrist. I'm not going to make that leap today. We're here to present evidence of the matrix, evidence of things repeating. Nothing new is under the sun, right? So this is Jim Garrison, the district attorney who investigated the JFK assassination, which of course now the assassination is being compared to the attempt on Donald Trump's life. All the JFK Jr. connections to Trump and all of this whole lore surrounding him in different circles is starting to all congeal into some kind of storyline, isn't it? Now, what I'm going to show you today are some very basic matrix facts that all seem to fit together in a series of bizarre coincidences that don't seem so random. Take this guy, Jim Garrison, for instance. His original name, he was born with the name Earling. Yes, his original name was Earling or Erling Carruthers, which of course has the word ear in it. And you're going to notice this ear thing connected to every single one of these Garrison stories. Every single one of these Garrison stories has an ear connection to it, which of course was pointing forward to Donald Trump's ear. And it connects all these very strange events and people. Now, remember the name Garrison because this is Herbert Garrison, Mr. Herbert Garrison from South Park. Let me play this clip for you guys. This is shocking. Now, this guy played Donald Trump on several occasions.
A South Park bio company is coming under fire for genetically engineering body parts onto laboratory mice.
So this is a newscast. He's talking about an ear being grown on top of a mouse. Watch.
Nice. This picture of a mouse genetically altered to grow a human ear has already sparked waves of protest.
Now, this is Mr. Garrison. He's a teacher in South Park, for those of you that follow South Park. And in this episode, Mr. Garrison, he had previously had a sex change operation, but he wants to switch back to a man by growing another thingamabob onto a mouse after hearing this news story. So you could see Mr. Garrison is wearing earrings here, and let's keep watching here.
What?
But the scientists say the process could help thousands of people who have become disfigured and need ears or noses.
So Mr. Garrison's all excited. He's going to get a new thingamabob put on. And Mr. Garrison, as you'll see next, has parodied Trump. And he says very offensive things that shock his advisors in the White House in the South Park episodes.
Holy freaking Jesus.
Now, sorry about that. He used Jesus' name in vain. But I tried to cut that out. But here are some of the images. Here's the lore surrounding Mr. Garrison. And you just saw the ear connection again, right? So we have Erling Garrison. We have Mr. Garrison from South Park with the ear growing on the mouse. And here's Mr. Garrison parodying Trump. Now, I believe this was in 2015, 2016. They did not think Trump was going to win, so they were making fun of him. They continued to make fun of Trump all throughout this. But here you can see that I'm not making any of this up, that this was all about Mr. Garrison and Trump. Here's the Hollywood Reporter. And it says here, last week's post-election episode was a first in the show's 20 seasons, that the F word was not bleeped during an early time slot showing. This was November 14th, 2016. And here's Mr. Garrison depicted as a Trump-like character. They even added an orange face onto him. Mr. Garrison, the character used to work at the school, and not Mr. President-elect. So they go on here, and I'll put a link to all this for you guys. But here are some videos of Mr. Garrison running for president in South Park. Now, what else is going on here? Well, and then there's this guy. Are you ready for this? In the early morning hours before Trump got his ear shot through, this guy spoke on C-SPAN. What is his name? Joey Garrison. And look at the similarities between this guy and Mr. Garrison. This is spooky, you guys. The Matrix. Mr. Garrison and Joey Garrison with the glasses and everything. Now, this guy's some kind of White House correspondent, but on July 13th, in the early morning hours before the attempt on Trump's life, Joey Garrison spoke on C-SPAN. It was almost like a clue. It was almost like a clue. Now, this all brings us to another Garrison, the third part of the Garrison Matrix, and this is the Garrison Water Tower in Garrison, New Jersey, in the movie Copland. Now, we covered this a couple days ago because a clown lived inside the water tower, played by Michael Rappaport. Now, why do I call him a clown? Well, he played a clown in the music video in which there was an attempt on Trump's life. The music video was Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg in the music video was called Lavender. And many of you will remember how controversial that was because he showed a gun. He had a gun up to Trump's head and pulled the trigger and it said bang. And there was a parody clown of Trump. So Michael Rappaport is the clown archetyped. And he lives in a water tower. Now, there are rumors and theories out there that the real shooter was up in the water tower above Trump. I don't know that. I'm just telling you what other people are saying. But this is all weird, right? What are the odds of this? Now, in real life, Michael Rappaport had his ear chewed off, his left ear, albeit, when he was 18 years old. And in the movie Copland, as you can see in your upper right corner, Sylvester Stallone has his left ear shot past with a close graze to his ear. So what is all this about? We have earling Garrison. We have ears growing on mice with Mr. Garrison in South Park. And now we have this movie, Copland, which is all about ears and water towers and Garrison. Now, the plot thickens because here's where things get weird. Copland came out 27 years before the Trump shooting. 27 years minus 33 days. And in the movie, Michael Rappaport is 27 years old. So we have this weird number 27, don't we? None of this can be accident. Now, I wanted to find some more number 33 coincidences to see if there was anything else that connects this number 33 to all this. And yes, I did find the numbers 33 from the movie Copland. Here's the movie here from 1997. And I looked at the cast, the main cast of people that played in the movie. And you're not going to believe this. 2 of the people in the movie were 33 years old in the year that the film released. Peter Berg, born in 1964 on 3/11, here he is here in the main cast of the movie, and Janine Garofalo was also 33 years old in the year that the film released. You can't make this up. 33 and 33 is 66. Again, pointing forward to this weird twin matrix. Now, if you don't think there's anything to this ear business, many of you will remember this from 2017. They found inside of a dog's ear what appears to be almost a perfect image of Trump. Now, the dog had some kind of a cyst that had to be removed. A cancer. A cancer. And we all know what's been causing all this cancer lately, don't we? We all know. This was from 2017 on November 6th. They found this. Now, BBC reported on this. CNN even reported on this. This image of Trump's face inside of a dog's ear. Now, this begs the question. Is the image of the dog with the cancer in its ear even real? Or is this pointing forward to what they knew would happen? We all see all of the cancer stories, don't we? And they're trying to tell us that, oh, it's your lifestyle. It's from smoking and drinking. I'm seeing stories every single day about a rise in cancer cases. What are the odds of that? People tell me, what do you have? What is your problem with Trump? It doesn't even need to be said. The problem is that he made something that has been killing Americans. That's about all we can say at this point. Because that can mean anything, right? But for those that are awake, it means everything. Now, let's summarize. We have clowns. We have ears. We have JFK. We have fake Trump assassinations inside the music video by Snoop Dogg, who appeared in the Olympics, by the way, and who just renounced his vendetta against Trump just last year, along with Michael Rappaport, who also renounced his vendetta against Trump as well, just last year, almost the same time Snoop Dogg did, almost as if they got a memo saying, okay, the psyop's over, you can now get on Trump's side. We have water towers, and we have the name Garrison. All of these are elements of the attempt on Trump's life, playing out in fiction years before it happened. I don't know how you could slice this any other way after the evidence that I just showed you. Things that seem random that aren't so random. Let me go into the chat for a bit and see what you guys are up to. You guys want to do any polls today before we get into the Honey Milk Ranch? It's shocking, isn't it? Thanks, Captain of my soul. Glad you're here too. Yes, they're all in on it. So what is the point of all this? Why are they orchestrating these things in fiction? Why are they writing these scripts before these things happen? It somehow solidifies the lie in the public consciousness. That's the best that I can figure out at this point. Because we find all of these past or these current events in this past program, and we find this almost all the time. Any major world event or major U.S. event almost always appears in the entertainment media years and years before it actually happens. So it has to have some kind of sorcery. It must be some kind of Kabbalistic sorcery. So, all right. All right, what else is going on, you guys? It's a warp portal, says Roy. It's possible. Now, tomorrow, before I show you the Honey Milk Ranch, tomorrow we're going to get into how the it works. What is the it? Well, the it, of course, is the artificial intelligence that is massaging and manipulating electronic data to make you go crazy and to wage war on anyone that is inside of, using this electronic data. And we talked about this in yesterday's show. We did a full show on how all this works. Well, tomorrow I'm going to show you how the it uses each of us to tell on each other. Nobody likes a rat, but guess what? Over the last several years, everybody wants to be a rat. Why? Because they can get money. And sometimes they don't even get money. Sometimes they just do it because the artificial intelligence, it has convinced people that it's good to tell on other people. And I've shared stories with you with my mother, how she's afraid to do certain things because she knows her neighbors will rat her out. And so we're going to talk about that tomorrow on tomorrow's show because there are specific cases that have come up in the news. Thanks, Gene. Thanks for the super chat. There are certain instances that have come up in the news that have actually demonstrated that this is how they police us. They police us with each other, with tips. Don't be a rat. Because if you be a rat, someone's going to rat you out. You live by the rat, you die or fall by the rat. Don't be a rat, because that plays right into the artificial intelligence. I don't care if you think someone else is getting over on something. I had a rat. You know who the rat was? Before I ever even moved into my house, there was a guy all the way across the valley, and he could only see my house, or what was starting to be my house, which was at the time just a single shed. He could only see it when the leaves were off the trees. What did he do? He wrote a letter, had it signed by everyone on the opposing street. Again, you cannot see my house from a street unless the leaves are off the trees. He wrote a letter, had it signed by all the people on the street, and an attorney with an official letterhead, and mailed it to me and said, your house isn't up to the covenant, specifications. It needs to be removed immediately. Literally told me to take my own house off of my own property. And of course I was furious, but I had to keep calm. At the time I wasn't living here. I was living in Connecticut. So I messaged him back and I said, do you really want to do this with me? I go, I will tell the world about what you people are doing, trying to do to me. And they backed off. What had happened was they didn't realize that the house would be up to code, but I wasn't finished building it yet. It was a slow build. It took me 3 years to build this place because I did it without mortgaging it. I slaved away for 5 years total, saving and scrimping. You would think that that might be a hard thing to do, but it's actually not with a little bit of discipline. You know, my friend and I were strategizing and doing the numbers on this, and we were looking at a person at a minimum wage job making $15 an hour. If they were roommates with another person and then they got a studio for a couple years, you could save $100,000 if you were paying $500 a month in rent off of two people with a minimum wage job. You could literally buy a house cash without having to mortgage it. But very few people have the discipline to do this because the rest of life goes on, right? And people want to eat out or they want to do things. They don't realize that they're creating a slave state for themselves by foregoing just your pleasures just for 1 year or 2 years to save that money. Two people, minimum wage job, bringing in $4,800 a month, working 40 hours a week. Your studio apartment costs you $500 a month. And yes, you're going to have to pay for food, but each person might even be able to qualify for an EBT card so you could get free food. And your bills are like almost nothing. And you could save $3,500 a month between the two of you. And you do that for 2 or 3 years and you've raised $100,000 and you can buy a house cash without a mortgage. These are the facts that they don't want you to know about. They want you in a mortgage. They want you in a 30-year mortgage paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. That's what they want, right? And I don't know how we got off on that topic, but make a long story short, there's ways out of the matrix, but very few people have the discipline to do it. I just described to you two people with a minimum wage job working 40 hours a week, able to save for a whole house. Now, you could be married or not married. Some people go into business agreements together. Let's say you wanted to save that $100,000 in 2 or 3 years, and you each have part of the house. And yes, there are still houses in rural Arkansas, right in town. You can go on to landwatch.com. They got houses for $100,000, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Nice ones too, made out of bricks and everything. But very few people have the discipline to do it. And that's just the way it works. But anyway, the neighbor came at me sideways and I had a choice to make. Did I get really upset and sell the property and walk away, or do I stand up? And I stood up. And I did have to make a few changes. I had to reinforce the foundation. That was the biggest thing, because you have to have permanent foundation. But I met all the requirements of the covenant. And so I told them to back off, and they backed off. So don't be a snitch, right? Nobody likes a snitch. Now, I'm good. I don't have anything to worry about with this guy, right? Because my house is solid. They want to bring an inspector over. It's on a permanent foundation. It's a structure. There's nothing wrong with it. But guess what? Now he's got to walk around worried all the time because he just aggressed upon me, right? Now, not that I would do anything to this guy, but he's got to worry now. And even the fact now that I'm sitting here talking about him, right? Now he's going to be embarrassed because of what he tried to do and what all the people on that street tried to do. There were like 5 signatures on this, and I've got all their names. So who's the real sucker in this case? People aggressing on others. So don't be a rat. Don't be a snitch. That feeds into the it. It feeds into the beast. This is what they want us doing, telling on each other. Okay? Now, let's get into the Honey Milk Ranch. I can't wait to show you guys this. This is awesome. For those of you that stuck around.
All right, you guys. Well, it's been a while since we've had a Honey Milk Ranch update. This pile of wood is going to go away. It's actually going to be burned this fall in the fire pit. I just figure probably a better place for it back there. That way the front of the house is a little bit more in order. Don't really need the wood there now that the fire pit's not there. And look at this. These tomatoes are coming in really nice. Very pleased with these tomatoes. All these tomatoes came from the neighbor. He brought these and they're looking beautiful. Tomato plants look really healthy. I'm just kind of letting them go wild. Inside there are some pepper plants of some kind. These little tiny ones. I'm not sure what they're going to do this year. I'm still holding out hope for them. You can see in there is Roma tomatoes in there as well. Got some Romas in there. We got some regular, whatever those, hothouse tomatoes maybe. I got this cage over it because as you can see, the animals just bit like that one all the way down to the nub and it regrew. And you can start seeing it start to flower. And I'm hoping that this will, see the little flowers on there? Maybe that'll give us some, whatever those are, jalapenos, I don't know. But put the cage over it because animals they're going to eat what they want, right? They're going to get what they want. Now this is, let's pull that little piece off there. These are pepper plants, I believe. And I know it's a little bit crowded in here, but it is what it is. This is just what's going on. And it's going to be okay, I think. Here are my blueberry plants. These are actual blueberries. I did try to repot them in something that was a little more acidic. But they're still not doing all that great. So there's 2 blueberry plants there. This is some wild lettuce in there. I have not eaten it yet, but that is wild lettuce.
Now that is, I actually identified this lettuce. It's called willow leaf lettuce. I don't even know if you can eat it, to be honest with you, but it is like wild lettuce.
Cultivating that. I pulled out all of these morning glories because they just kept attacking all of the plants. So pulled out the morning glories and the bed is empty now, except for I had some surprise kale and actually used that kale and put some in a salad. That's why you don't see any kale on it, because I actually harvested that already. And whatever these little plants are, not sure what these are, but these are starting to try to come up.
So yeah, whatever those are, they could be I don't know what those are. I guess we'll see, right?
So if anyone has any ideas about what those are, I'm going to let them grow and see what happens. One more tomato plant over here. This one almost looks like little cherry tomatoes. You can see some green little cherry tomatoes forming down in here. Maybe. So those are probably cherry tomatoes. All right, what else is going on? Well, I told you guys I'd give you the full update, so that's what you're going to get today. The peach tree is doing amazing. Look at this thing. It's now up to about 9 feet tall.
And as you can see, I freed the peach tree. The peach tree is now cage free because it's big enough now to where the deer won't eat the leaves off. So I took the cage off.
Loving this spot here. This is a raspberry bush down here. And I don't know what it's going to do. That's a raspberry bush though. And these are all thornless blackberries. Now, someone said, oh, you're growing hybrid plants. No, thornless blackberries are native. They're just native to England, apparently. And I essentially went through and did all my pruning early because the fruit from all the thorn blackberries kind of went bad. So I pulled them out anyways. and there was no more fruit left on the thornless vines, and so I just pulled all those out, and so now all you see is next year's fruit. That's going to be next year's fruit. There's nothing on them now, of course, but next year those are flower and fruit, and they're all thornless, so no more problems, no more getting spined. So that's pretty much what's going on with that. I've got them all on this nice fence. You can walk down on here and harvest them pretty quickly. Now this year we got about 4 or 5 bowls of big luscious blackberries before they all started kind of turning. So this is the lone little peach tree. It's trying. I put a cage around it so that you know, nothing can keep eating the leaves. So keep an eye on this peach tree. I also fixed the irrigation to be a little bit better than it was. This is the other peach tree in this little cage, and it's really trying as well. Not sure what the deal is with that, but as you can see, this is on the back side of the big peach tree. So now we're behind the fence here. And this is a thornless blackberry. And so as soon as this grows a little bit, I'm gonna put it up on the fence here. And as you can see, there's plenty of space for this blackberry to cultivate next year. Really looking forward to it. Got a really strong cane right there. That is a really super thick cane. That cane is about the size of my thumb or big toe. So that is a super big cane there. And this thing is happy and it's going for it. So
Now I got to give another shout out to Rose. Rose, I haven't seen Rose in a while. She lives about an hour away, so I feel bad about that. But Rose was the one who gave me those thornless blackberries. And look at what they've done. This is amazing. Like, I just planted these a couple years ago, and now I've got all thornless blackberries. So thanks again, Rose. Much love to you.
Next year ought to be really fun. I put down some mulch already down here. I put down some cedar that I cut off of another tree. Cedar keeps the bugs down. So I pruned some cedar, and then I laid some mulch on top of it, and that'll keep the weeds down. And I'll just come through here and weed back and keep an eye on this all throughout the fall and winter to make sure that you know, everything's okay. But anyway, I did an early fall pruning. It's actually, you know, it's not even fall yet, but I did a late summer pruning of the blackberries. I know it's a little bit early, but I did it because, like I said, the plants didn't look that great. They were overcrowded a bit, so I learned a lesson for next year. The thorns mixed with the thornless, and so that might have something to do with it as well. So that's the update on the Honey Milk Ranch. Everything else looks great out here. Got out here and got some good sweat. I mowed yesterday. You don't want to mow too short out here. If you mow too short, on hot days it'll burn the grass. So you want to leave the grass somewhat long during the summer. You just want to trim the edges, and you'll have good healthy grass. Now a lot of what you see in there is clover. There's clover mixed in there, so that's a really good healthy mix of lawn and clover. And let's see what else we got going on over here. Let's pick this up. I cannot wait to get tomatoes. I'm just gonna eat tomatoes. I'm gonna go on a tomato fast, tomato overdose. All of these little, what look like weeds, are actually the I don't know, plantains. These are plantains, and so I just leave them there. You know, I think it's kind of cool. They all have seeds right now, so the plantains kind of love it there along the walkway. So I'll just leave those there. At some point I'm going to figure out some different solution for this walkway. I mean, right now I've got cardboard with mulch on top, but mulch is used typically for growing something. So I don't know. I'm going to probably build a boardwalk at some point, and I may also do a boardwalk and a chicken coop. I want to learn how to frame, so perfect place to practice framing is on a chicken coop. So I might build my own chicken coop. I have plenty of siding back here. Let me show you that. Now I did keep the Xterra. I got a guy coming on the 30th, mobile mechanic. I'm gonna give it one last try to see if they can fix this. It'd be a cool truck to keep. I looked it up. It's worth almost $5,000, and that's probably what I should do, is keep it. But anyway, this is my wood pile.
Yeah, the guy didn't show up yesterday, but he's supposed to be here next week, a mobile mechanic. the truck is, what is it doing? It starts and I hear this like grinding noise. Almost sounds like a car that has no oil in it, but it has oil. And then so it's probably a pulley wheel or something, or it could be, I don't know if the what do you call it, the water pump makes a noise like that. Something is grinding, and then there's this weird off metally sound smell to it. And then the check engine light's on, so those are the problems with the Xterra. So I'm hoping this guy can plug into my computer on the truck and figure it out once and for all. I'm tired of throwing money at the truck, which is why I got a different car, but I do want to keep the truck because it's four-wheel drive and it's cool looking and it's a fun car. So yeah, so here now we're at the wood pile. Let's take a look.
Oh, and there's plenty of siding in here, and I mean, look at all the wood in there. There's boards and siding, leftover OSB siding that I used to do different stuff. So there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to use some of this to make a chicken coop. I might have to buy a few boards, but I think this might be enough to build a chicken coop. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about hanging out at the fire pit in the fall when it gets a little bit cooler, burning some of this wood, getting the place cleaned up a little bit more. I'm just really excited about that. Anyway, you guys, I'm also excited for hunting season and all that stuff. I've seen some deer come up pretty close eating the clover out here in the lawn. And not to say that I would, fire on one from here, but lower down the hill, I might do an archery hunt at some point and get our first deer for the year so I could fill up my freezer and eat some good organic food. So that's the update. Can't wait to do fireside chats with you guys and stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I love each and every one of you guys. Have a great day.
So yeah, the fall is my
take care.
Time of the year, so looking forward to that. We'll get out there, make some fires, and chitty chat with you guys. Okay, I'm back in the chat. See what you guys are up to. So yeah, there you go. There's the update on the Honey Milk Ranch. Hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, you guys have any questions about any of this? Yeah, the tomatoes look fantastic, don't they? I'm so excited about those tomatoes. I was like, I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't going to do a garden this year. It kind of just happened, like we had the beds. You guys saw the beds. I made those beds like last year, remember? And then they like sat, and then I was putting all the food scraps from the kitchen into the beds. And then I covered it in plastic, and then my neighbor dropped off some soil out of the truck, and then he gave me some seedlings, and then also the neighbors had been dropping off seeds in my mailbox because that's what they do out here, because it's amazing. People are so nice. Like during certain times of the year, they'll bring you seeds and like a little gift, And so I had all this stuff. And back when Ree was here, we had the seeds and we kept them, and then we talked about it, and then I just planted them. She actually seeded some of that stuff, and some of it started to grow, and I just put it in there. I'm like, why not? Let's put it in there. And so then I put it in there, and then all of a sudden it started growing. And then, of course, my neighbor brought me over some corn and some other stuff and all the tomatoes that you see and the peppers. And I was like, I have to do this garden this year. I've been promising you guys I was going to do a garden, and now it's a garden. As you can see, it's not like a crazy garden, but it's simple, and it required very little work. I mean, I do go out there and hand water those plants every day, but it's super easy. I just get like a bucket, 1 5-gallon bucket waters that whole garden. And then I have a drip system on the grapes and trees, not the grapes, but on the trees and the blackberries. I've got a drip system, so I just turn on the hose for a bit and it drips over there, and then I water the lawn, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it does require some maintenance, but I can't wait to get any of these tomatoes. I'm gonna eat tomatoes every day till they're all gone, and I'll hopefully give some to the neighbors as well. So yeah, so you guys have any questions before we pop off of here? Thanks everybody for showing up. Yeah, there's so many parables associated with gardening, aren't there, Joanne? Amen. All right. Southern style tomato casserole recipe on YouTube. Thanks, Joy. My garden is frying, says Joni. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, one of the biggest challenges we're going to face going in this future in terms of homesteading is water. It's all about the water. And they know it. They know that it's not economically feasible for people to water a garden anymore in most states. And as soon as they put a limitation on collecting rainwater, that's the beginning of the end, because then you're spending hundreds of dollars a month to grow a garden, and it's just not worth it. So we have to fight against that. Anytime they try to, take away our right to collect rainwater, that is when we have to fight. You have to stand up and fight. And I don't care if it's a Republican governor in office. You have to write letters. You have to fight against that and raise awareness. Because as soon as that happens, as soon as they claim the water coming out of the sky, it's the beginning of the end. Okay? Because we won't be able to grow our own food. So, no, I don't have a well, Visionary Vet. I can build a well, but here's the problem out here now. Are you ready for this? Water's not terribly expensive here. My water bill is, it's $50 a month for just 1,000 gallons, which I usually fall under typically. But during the summer, when I water the lawn and I'm doing the garden, it can go up to about $70 a month, maybe $80 on a heavy usage month, which isn't too bad, but then you're bordering on the, okay, you could buy that produce, right? By the time all this fruits out and everything, for the amount that I'm spending on water, right? And then there's all the labor that goes in with it, but no big deal. So what's happening is that there's a water board, and it's crazy because I actually just joined the water board. And so I'm on the water board here locally, so I can actually, make a difference, I guess, and help make the decisions around here. But essentially, they put in this water system here in 2015 is when the pipes went in the ground. It's called rural water. It comes out of the lake, and it's treated, and it's called rural water. So I'm out here in the county, but the water, there is water here. But a lot of people in between the water are getting wells, but wells have become expensive. The wells now, because people know that people want to do wells, they want to live off grid, the wells are now costing $20,000 to dig a well. And there's a waiting list of like 6 months to even get the well dug. So there's problems even out here in Arkansas where we get 40 inches of rain a year. Okay. So you can imagine what it's like in the rest of the country. It's probably double that or triple that to build a well, to dig a well. So here I am out here. I'm not on a well yet, but right now it's not economically feasible for me to do that. I don't have $20,000, and that doesn't even come with any guarantees. So there aren't even any guarantees. So you pay $20,000 and that only gets you 250 feet. And if they don't hit water by 250 feet, then the bill keeps going up as they keep digging deeper. There are some people here with 600-foot wells, and if you're in the wrong spot, you're still not going to get water. So the days of cheap water are over, and $20,000, to be honest, you're never ever going to justify that with water bills, unless the water bills go up to $500 a month or $300 a month. And I don't think that'll ever happen out here in rural Arkansas, but you could justify that in a place like California. But then in California, how much are you going to spend to dig a well? It's going to be $50,000 to dig a well in California, you see? So this is how they get you. This is what we call the IT. It's the matrix. It's artificial intelligence. It does not want people to break through. It does not want you finding a way out of it. So it seeks to keep you inside the system. And it uses money as a manipulation tool because most people don't have money. And it can also use, cost justification and these things to keep you in the matrix, to keep you in the loop so that you're a slave to the beast system instead of more independent and able to make independent decisions. They want to be able to threaten you. They want you to be in fear. And when you're not in fear, that's when the Holy Spirit can work in you, when you're not in fear. This is why Jesus says over and over again, do not live in fear. Do not be afraid, because that blocks it blocks your ability to feel the Holy Spirit and have it work in your life and to speak the truth, about the beast system. Because how can you speak truth against the beast system if you're dependent on it or living in it or a slave to it? We're all in the system, but there's a spectrum of people of, where are you in the spectrum? Are you a slave to it, completely bought and sold, or are you 80% out of it? And so the more free you are, the more free you can speak. So that's the story with the well. I don't want to spend $20,000 to dig a well with no guarantees. And I don't want to wait 6 months. And apparently there's some kind of war on wells. You're not going to believe this, but you can actually look this up online. And wells are disproportionately struck by lightning. It happens often. It's something in the design of the well, because there's wiring that goes all the way down to the bottom of the well. And so for some reason, lightning loves to ground out on wells, on water wells. So what does that do? It completely destroys the well. You have to rebuild the well. Now, I don't care if you put a well house over it. It doesn't seem to matter. The lightning finds that wire that goes down all the way in the ground, and it grounds out on it, and it destroys the well. So you're talking a $2,000 to $3,000 repair bill. And some people have their well struck often, like once every 2 or 3 years. And so how are you going to ever recoup that money when your water bill is only $50 a month? So that's my thought process behind it. I know other people have talked about digging your own well. I don't know how to do that. It requires very specialized equipment. I could get water down out of the ditch here, but everybody's septic systems are above that ditch where my spring is. So now I'd have to treat that water somehow because the septic systems are all above it. My septic system is above the spring. Now, I know the spring's probably coming up out of the ground from below, but there's no guarantees with that either. So that's where everything sits with the well. So great question. Thanks for that. Okay, I'm back in the chat, you guys. Yeah, it's almost impossible Appalachian homegrown, but again, remember, it's a spectrum. Okay, nobody's going to be completely out of the system. You'd have to live, in a shack off in the woods, growing all your own food and never seeing a human being. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. It's a spectrum. So the more, every little thing you can do, you will feel emboldened. You'll feel emboldened in your walk because there will be no attachments to you. So every little thing you do is you're one step further on the spectrum. And no one of us is any greater than the others by how far we've come, right? But it is my job and my calling to share with you the walk that I'm on, okay? Even though I get a lot of backlash, or some backlash, not a lot, but some backlash. Some people get disenfranchised. Some people get jealous. But look, the Lord told me, you can't just sit on your laurels and enjoy how I've blessed you. You have to share it with people so that they know how they can make baby steps toward something like this. Okay? That's what he told me to do. He commanded me to do that because I could have been completely private about where I live and what I do. And that would have been to my benefit, right? It's easy to, sit on here and complain about the world, right? It's easy to do that. And it would be easy for me to lie and say, oh, I live in a garage or something. There are people on YouTube that do that. They pretend like they're in rough times because it garners sympathy. For some reason, people love to see someone struggling. But God told me, now I've blessed you finally. So people got to see you when you were poor, and now they get to see you with some blessing. Not that I have a whole lot, but it is a blessing not to have to worry about rent and all these things all the things I had to go through for all those years. So he's told me you have to do this, even if you lose some people who don't want to watch you anymore for whatever reason, you have to show people this. And so this is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it as a command by the Most High so that other people can try to figure out ways out of it. Okay. because the system is not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. So now this ranch will be here for forever. I mean, unless there's fires, which we don't have fires here really because it rains too much, but it will be here forever. And, you know, it's just going to be here. Okay. It could possibly be a refuge for multiple people at some point in the last days. And God did that, not me. God did it. But I walked in faith also. So this is why I share the Honey Milk Ranch. And I love each and every one of you that do appreciate it. Cheryl's going to go jump in the lake after this. Good for you, Cheryl. Yeah, it's going to be like 90 today. Cheryl lives out here near me, her and her husband. They're awesome people. So she's going to go jump in the lake. Yeah, that's a good swimming spot over there. All right, what else is going on, you guys? How do I know it's a command from the Most High? That's a really good question, Passing Traveler. And I will tell you the honest truth. The truth is if you've been following the channel, you'll know that it was a command by the Most High because you will have seen the struggle. You will have seen... I'm going to give you a little bit of my testimony today because I believe that that will help some people as well. When you walk in the Holy Spirit, walk in the Holy Ghost, you look back on your life and you see the beginning from the end. You see why God told you to do this or that, or why, you know, he told you to be in a certain place. And for the first 4 years, or the last 4 years before my children turned 18, I lived 2 blocks away from them to try to be in their life. But I was so broke. This is when I first started my YouTube channel. I was living in a studio, and I had no money after child support and alimony. And so I stuck it out. I was faithful. I fulfilled my commitments to my children, and I had a choice. I actually had $10,000 back then that I saved over the course of like 8 years. And I had a choice. Do I buy a property back then, or do I finish paying Max's child support? And God told me, you have to do the right thing. You have to finish your commitment with your son. So I did. I wrote his mother a $10,000 check for the last year of his child support. And then I went on faith that God would somehow make me whole again so that I could get out of the beast, or start getting out of the beast. But then hard times came, and I lost my job in medical sales, which was a God thing as well. At first, I was really angry about it, but that was 2014. I lost my job in medical sales, and I swore to myself, and I made a vow to God that I would, once I got laid off again from this medical sales job, I would never go back into that industry again. That was the promise I made. And he said, go on faith, I will sustain you. He didn't tell me how, but he said, I will sustain you. So I left that job. And at that point, what happened? I'm trying to think back here. But my commitment to my children was done. And God said, now you need to go into the wilderness. So I went into the wilderness. And that's when I got a call from Mark. And I went on faith. YouTube had just demonetized my channel, and I was living on $250 a month. And that went on for 3 or 4 years. But God sustained me because he sent me to France. And Mark said, just give me the $250 a month to keep the lights on, and you can live there and maintain the properties. So that's what I did for 2 years. I maintained 2 properties. God blessed me with the vehicle, and I took care of the properties, and I gave Mark the rest of my money for it to keep the utilities on. At that point, I still was a vagabond. You know, I had really nothing, just the clothes on my back, a couple suitcases. And then at that point, YouTube restored my YouTube channel. So my income went up a little bit to where I could afford to move in with a roommate in Connecticut. So that's what I did for 3 years after that. And it was during that time that God started blessing the YouTube channel. Finally, after I had been faithful for almost 9 years. Poor and faithful. And then I had 2 good years on YouTube, and I used all that money to build this place. And no sooner, it was like almost the day that I finished the last project, YouTube started playing games and messing around. And that's when my income dropped significantly. But that's how I know that that's what God was calling me to do and calling me to share it with all of you. Because, I had to come to terms with this. I wanted to keep this place a secret. I wanted to keep it a secret because I was like, okay, if I go and talk about this, people are going to know about it. People are going to show up. But I was like, how can I hold back the blessings that I got to experience from the rest of the world? That would make me a hypocrite, right? That would make me a hypocrite. And so, I share with you guys how awesome it is out here. Very few people want to come out here. My mom, she could actually sell her house today and use the equity in her house to buy a whole property with acreage out here, paid off. And her taxes would only be about $500 a year. But she won't do it. She's over there paying $600 a month in electric bill and still carrying a mortgage on the rest of, her house. But people are stuck in their ways. I tell you guys, my total monthly bills are less than $300 a month. And that includes everything. That includes electricity, internet, cell phone, car insurance, house insurance. The only thing it doesn't include is food. But God wants me lean and mean. He doesn't want me worrying about where I'm going to live. And this is why our work has gotten better, hasn't it? Our deep dives and our research, because I have the time and I don't have to worry about a landlord kicking me out or raising my rent. I don't have to worry about, what's YouTube going to do? Are they going to play games with me? And how am I going to afford where I'm living? All that worry has gone away. And now I can focus on just being here, no matter what. Now, you guys are a blessing too. Some of you have signed up for the fundraiser, and that's amazing. And it's a monthly donation that's automatic, and you've gone and you've done that. And that also helps support the channel. You guys are a blessing, but it's a full circle thing. Like I commit to you guys. I show up here every day. I put in the work. We have a wonderful community, don't we? And I'm disclose everything to you so that you know how to get out of the beast. Okay? Like some of you could be in a mortgage right now and you have $100,000 in equity. You could literally come out here and have a house paid off. Now, you'd have to find a way to make a little bit of money out here to pay your annual taxes and pay for food. But there is ways out of the beast, but very few people want to do it. So, or don't have the means to do it. I know not everybody can do it, but I'm here to do it, to show you and explain to you for the people that can. Okay. That's what God told me to do. So that's how I know. To answer your question, I know I went on a whole testimony thing, but you have to see the whole testimony and understand the whole journey before you can understand how I know for sure. And it's the still small voice. I got that icky feeling inside when I was thinking about keeping it a secret. I was like, why should I tell people? Like, no one's going to understand. They're just going to be jealous is what I originally thought. And then I got that icky feeling and God's like, nope, you have to tell people. He goes, the whole reason why I bless you with this is so you could tell people. And guess what? Now there are some of you that have moved out here that are my friends. And you guys are amazing. And we don't always spend a bunch of time together, but you're there and you're enjoying the blessings of a much, much cheaper lifestyle in a very beautiful place. And so you're not stressed out or worried about how you're going to make it. Okay. So that's the testimony. I hope that blesses some people. So I'm back in the chat here. The days of the beast system will soon come crashing down. Absolutely 100%. You inspire me too, Yaba. I love your lightheartedness and your jokes. You always come with a positive attitude. You guys are all amazing. So, okay. Yeah, so I'll keep you guys updated on the garden. It's funny, I took that video of the tomatoes probably, gosh, when was that? That was like 3 or 4 days ago. So the tomatoes are huge now. So I'll get some video of the tomatoes. I'll also give you an update on the truck when the mobile mechanic finally makes it out here. A couple of you asked to buy the truck. I wouldn't be opposed to thinking of that as a possibility. Some of you are willing to buy the truck broken. I'm like, no, I'm not going to sell someone a broken truck. Like at least I'll fix it first, and then give me a fair price on it, and I might think about selling it. I should probably keep it though, but it's got 192,000 miles on it. The truck's been great. Many of you remember the truck all the way back from 2014 is when I bought the truck. So I've had it for 10 years. It's a 2002. And so it's completely free of computers, mostly. I mean, the modern computers anyway. And it's funny, my newer vehicle that I just got is it's a 2016, and it's completely different technology than the 2002. The 2002 Xterra is completely different technology than the car I'm driving now. So it took me a minute to get used to it with screens on the dashboard and stuff. I'm like, what is all this stuff, But it is what it is. And the vehicle I have now gets way better gas mileage, and it's more of a cruiser. So I don't have to, I can go on trips and stuff if I need to. Yeah, I'll do a reveal at some point of what the vehicle is. But yeah, my daily driver is a 1990 Jeep Wrangler, says Isaac. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Dave says, don't regret anything. I had to go through everything I had to get where I'm at. I'll be honest with you. This YouTube channel has been therapy for me. It's been therapy just as much as it is for you guys to be able to come on here and talk about everything that we're going through in life. You guys actually helped me get through the last 10 years, So I love you guys. You guys helped me get through the last 10 years. I'll see you all tomorrow.